Content warning. This episode contains descriptions of sexual and domestic violence. Listener discretion is advised. We love the Welsh. Our logo designer is Welsh.
You guys have you guys have one of the coolest flags. So we were and just one of the greatest languages that I'll never in a million years be able to understand.
Never.
It's so cool.
I may be 66% Irish, but I am 100%. Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to PixelLit. My name is Kevin. With me, as always, is Phil.
Hey, guys.
Today, we're talking Bioshock Rapture.
Oh, my God.
That sweet breath of fresh air.
Oh,
this is our third episode on it.
I'm gonna need to check this out. This is my little gift for the opening of the show. This is a Venturi.
Mm-hmm.
It oxygenates your wine, and it makes the coolest sound, and I want to see if it can pick up for the people the sound it makes.
I heard that. I think that, yeah, I definitely heard something there.
That was weird.
Was that for our ASMR folk that listen to us?
For those of you who like gadgets, wine, and ASMR, you're welcome.
I don't know if there's any real ASMR folk that listen, because we both kind of talk at a yell.
Yeah, it would be bad for them. Just heavy breathing and loud.
It's not like we're okay. Now I'm going to talk.
How's everyone doing
down here?
Yeah,
so Andrew Ryan.
We're kind of loud people.
Yeah, I every time I'm done one of these, I go downstairs and my wife is downstairs and she says, "You're really loud."
My fiance says, she's like, "You guys have fun, don't you?" And I was like, what do you mean? She goes, "You just laugh and laugh and laugh." And like, you think it's cute now? Oh,
just wait till it's our full-time job, you know?
Yeah.
Just wait for that. That's gonna be,
and we are putting that out in the world, motherfucker.
That is out in the universe now.
That is happening.
You know, this is gonna be one of the last episodes of the year.
Yes, it is. Yeah, timing-wise, I suppose.
Timing-wise, it's going to be...
the third episode?
Yeah, this will be the third episode. So 1, 2, 3. Yeah, it actually might be our last regular episode of the year, depending on what we're doing on the 22nd.
Right.
Wow.
And we're getting there. We are making out the year. Guys, thank you so much for listening. We usually say
so
that
much for listening. We're just past our 6-month anniversary as of this episode. Isn't that mind-blowing?
That's crazy. We got to think of something to do for the year anniversary. Got to start planning now.
You got to start planning the year anniversary at about 6 months before the year anniversary, or else that year anniversary is just going to feel like, I don't know, limp.
Right. We know you guys are listening, but we were just talking about it. We were watching the numbers, and the numbers are good.
The numbers are good. People are listening to us, and
you're out there. You're listening, and it's so freaking cool. Because let's face facts. This was me and Kevin's equivalent of Dad's garage band. Basically.
Yeah.
It's like, let's get together and do a cover of Pearl Jam or something like that.
Let's really try to nail Black Hole Sun.
Right. Right. And you guys are actually showing up and actually listening, and holy fuck, it's cool. Like, this is way better than the Epiphone Explorer that I would have bought for myself if we had done a band instead. Like, believe it or not, this podcast beats the fuck out of a mediocre pointy guitar.
Yeah. And I don't play the guitar, so it would have been really wasted on me.
It would have been awkward.
Yeah.
So where are we?
We're in, as far as I'm aware, we're in chapter 9. Lower Wharf, Neptune's Bounty, March 1953. So we got a Chief Sullivan chapter. Yep. And he's down there. He's investigating. He's looking around because this Fontaine character, he's up to no good.
Right.
And he gets Sullivan ends up being attacked by a man, and they tussle a bit, and Sullivan's partner, Karlowski, ends up shooting the man dead.
Right.
And basically, the man has all this information on him, as if he is he is running the smuggling operation. It's like this neat little package that Fontaine has set up to draw suspicion.
A very too good to be true,
too good to be true.
Yeah, they're trying to, and they see right through it. They realize that basically what this is kind of, this guy's been treated as a stool pigeon, so they'll stop looking for the smuggling guy, assuming like, well, we got him, he's dead, and that if that's what Fontaine is doing, it doesn't really seem to work.
Yeah, and we get a little written right into the text, we have a little Russian-Ukrainian racism, because Karlowski is Russian, I believe, and the man that they shoot, Mike Lasko, is Ukrainian, and they have Karlowski has very strong words for how he feels about Ukrainians.
There's not and if any of you have met Ukrainians, they don't always have kind words for Russians.
Yeah, Ukrainians and Russians tend to have words. I'm not stepping in the middle of that.
I'm not because if you crack the spine on a history book, you'll know there's plenty of grievances to be held there.
Had. Yeah.
And I don't get between Russians and Ukrainians and Slavs in general. I don't have that kind of courage in me.
No,
I just don't.
I don't either.
Don't.
That is as a wise man once said, "Oh, this is not my floor."
Yeah. So we get a little bit of old-fashioned Euro racism, which we haven't seen
in a long time. As modern day Americans, we have not gotten a lot of Euro racism in our day-to-day lives. If
it's almost wistful.
It's almost wistful. Italians get it on occasion.
Yeah.
Still, but other than that, it's not super common. Yeah.
No. Let's see. Okay, so that brings us to Fontaine with his recently acquired scientists.
Yeah, he made a science acquisition.
Yeah, and it looks like they're making big daddies.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing, is it doesn't say it outright, but it felt like it seemed like a big daddy that they were working on.
Yeah, they're basically testing out all these abilities. They're fusing flesh to metal, that whole thing. They're fine, and this is the section of the chapter where we get Adam, Eve, and plasmids really kind of explained to us, where these weird sea slugs, which, what a random ass thing to ascribe the discovery of Adam and everything like that to, like, just sea slugs. Okay, fine. So they develop these special stem cells from the slugs which can heal and alter the body. They basically tear open this guy, inject him with some Adam, and after a minute, the wound stitches itself together.
Right.
And they call it Adam, which is what the gives you the powers. And another sort of a chemical called Eve, which restores those powers, because the most important thing to remember is this power is finite. You can come up with all kinds of powers, and they do. Right now, it's just healing and some basic, vague alterations. And you can do all kinds of cool things with that atom, but you need Eve to recharge yourself. The power doesn't stick around forever, which leads to Sushong piping in that's probably pretty addictive stuff for a lot of reasons.
Yeah.
Not the least of which is the amazing power.
Yeah. And Fontaine immediately has the dollar signs. His eyes turn into dollar signs.
Yeah, immediately, like a Looney Tunes cartoon. Just Like someone turns an arm on his head and it turns into a slot machine and he starts spitting up coins.
Yeah. So in the next part of the chapter, we have a character who is, if you've played Bioshock, he gets killed off. He's your first boss.
Yeah, you meet him pretty early.
He is the first boss of the game. You knock him, you take him out pretty quickly. Actually, one of the few bosses of the game. That was the thing about Bioshock, is when you play it, there's only a couple bosses, and he is one of them. And
that's right.
You fight him maybe in the first 45 minutes or something like that.
Yeah.
This is this guy, Dr. Steinman, and
Dr. Steinman.
He is a plastic surgeon who has lost his goddamn mind.
He's just out of his mind.
The thing about him is that you don't realize how far back, until you read the book, you don't realize how far back he had lost his mind. This is 1953, 7 years before the events of the game, and he is already talking. He sees and talks to the goddess Aphrodite.
Yeah. He's basically looking for the perfect face. He's trying to express the beauty of Aphrodite to please her in his work. And it becomes very clear, and it gets more clear as time goes on, but he doesn't care what you want done to your face. He has some restraint for now, but he sees every person who's under his knife as kind of a
potential experiment.
Exactly. Yes.
Well, not really, I guess. So not an experiment, but
clay.
It's
something to mold.
Something to mold. An artistic endeavor.
Right. And he's clearly doing good work. We see him, showing off, some of his work to a woman who just got her face lifted, got some nose work done, that kind of thing. And they're flummoxed. They love it. They love his work. He's amazing. And he's clearly, it's not enough for him. He's really, really not thrilled with it. There's another really strange thing in this chapter I highlighted that they kind of fly right past, which I found to be very frustrating because I wanted more information on this. Steinman took a cigarette from the box on the coral desk, lit it with a silver lighter shaped like a human nose, and got up to open the curtains of his office porthole. Where can I have a cigarette lighter the shape of a human nose, please? I feel like that's information that perhaps we should have. There should be a hyperlink or just there's
like an extra couple sentences. We're like, go back to that later. What?
Right. I don't smoke. I don't have any. I don't really have a lot of use for a cigarette lighter, but to have a silver cigarette lighter in the shape of a human nose just sitting on my desk where God and anybody else can see it, I need that kind of insanity in my life. It's just a little detail, but it's very important to me.
It is a chaotic neutral item of power there.
Which is the vibes I'm always trying to give off. So yeah. So we get that's our introduction to him.
That's our first introduction to Steinman in the book so far. Yeah. He shows up a couple more times in part 2. Yeah. But his chapters are kind of mixed in there to represent the kind of best people that Ryan has brought down he's clearly one of the best plastic surgeons, clearly.
Right. But he's just, that's true. He represents something cracked behind that mirror.
A rotten foundation. And then we cut back to Fontaine. And Fontaine is having a little sexy time with Bridget Tenenbaum.
With Tenenbaum! Like, what the hell, man? Like, do you not... Look, they make a point of saying that she's beautiful and everything
beautiful,
like that.
but also kind of like the nutty professor.
She's crazy. Like, she's a
Nazi.
Yeah. Don't fucking, don't stick your dick in eugenics.
There's so many words.
You just don't do it.
And I gotta say, John Shirley writes around it in such a way that Tenenbaum is never really described as a Nazi.
Right.
But she is a German who worked for the Nazis.
Who is very
obsessed. Who is very into eugenics and experimenting on people.
Yeah.
Like it's okay. I know she turns out to be kind of like one of the protagonists of Bioshock.
Right.
But it's okay that you write her as she is, which is a eugenics obsessed Nazi.
A Nazi, yeah.
She is not a good person.
Right.
And neither is Fontaine.
No. And we do get, and this actually, we do get another very Randian moment here, where essentially she's telling him how she likes it. They haven't had sex yet. He says, "You look kind of scared," he said. "You sure about this?" "I do not like to be touched," she said, "but I need it when the feelings of desire come. What I dream of is a man who simply takes me. I will make some token resistance, but it will not be real. I must fight a little. I can only do it that way." Which is another kind of Ayn Rand staple.
Sure.
There is a lot of rapey sex stuff in Ayn Rand's work. It's I believe we're still talking about and this one actually is the Fountainhead. There is a scene where our male protagonist takes the female protagonist, and she tries to fight him off, and he exerts his power upon her.
Sure.
And she even calls it rape, but she's kind of into it at the same time. It's basically anybody who's ever read Ayn Rand knows that the woman was a freak. And I'm not here to yuck your yum, and I say freak in the friendliest possible way that I can mean it. But there is a constant underlying theme of basically Ayn Rand was a sub. She wanted to be dominated very, very badly.
Sure.
She probably had rape fantasy, stuff like that. But none of the people that she describes having these moments expresses it the way Tenenbaum here does.
Very specifically.
Yes. Tenenbaum does it right. Tenenbaum and Fontaine are doing it right. She's like, I want to be taken. I want to feel powerless.
Tenenbaum is like, here's what I like. I am giving you consent to do it.
Right.
But I like it when it seems exactly like this.
Yeah.
Which it still feels even then it still feels dicey. The way the way it's written.
That's not first date fooling around shit.
No. The whole scene gave me I don't know. It's like one of those danger zone moments in the back of my head.
Very much so, yes.
Moving on from that scene.
Let's
go to the amusement park.
Let's do. Oh, good. Kevin, I love amusement parks.
I love amusement parks. Oh, wait, this is propaganda.
Dennis Prager, the ride.
It's Dennis Prager.
No.
Prager U has been turned into an amusement park. Oh, no. Yeah, basically, Bill McDonough decides to ride the rides of the amusement park, and it's the journey to the surface. So it's a ride that is designed to let kids go up to the surface and see above the water and all that stuff, and
basically telling them why they shouldn't go up.
Yeah,
into the real world.
And it's just all this Rapture propaganda.
Yeah.
And it's parasites and all that stuff. It is just shoving it down the kids' throats.
Yeah. You've got the great businessman who is destroyed by the parasites. And we talked about this in the last episode, that hand. The hand that comes from above and smashes the hard-working
smashes the tableaus.
Yes.
No, says the man in Washington.
Right, exactly. And I think the funniest one of these is the artist. They do the same thing. It's like, the artist wants to make great art, and the person in the government says, you can't say this, and you can't do that, and you can't make art about that. And it's like, let's really think about this. Like, let's really think about this. Who is our country's greatest libertarian artist? Vince Vaughn? Like, like most artists are kind of okay with all this shit that you're saying is holding them down and everything like that. Like, it's like, that's it. Like, artists who don't have a lot of empathy for, like, giving some money up here to help pay for kids and school and shit like that. They don't tend to make stuff that really resonates with the population at large, let's say.
Right. Yeah. So Bill is a little bit bummed. He's bummed that he had to see this. And he's like, I don't think I can take my wife on this ride.
No, much less his kid. He's
not going to let his kid.
We've been starting to see Bill's apprehension over the world he's helping create. This is another example of it.
Yeah, it's the apprehension is building. And there's a lot of things that are slowly coming to a head. Because meanwhile, over in Dionysus Park, we have Sophia Lamb, who is talking to one of the brothers Wales, Simon Wales, and basically kind of trying to get him on her side, because she uses the word communal concept, and that's similar to communism.
It's awfully close.
Awfully close.
Yeah, they're talking treason here, my friend.
They are talking treason on paper, treason. Here, and we get introduced to Sophia's daughter, Eleanor,
who she's keeping away from the other kids.
Yes,
because she doesn't because the other kids are brainwashed. She wants to keep her kid nice and pure.
And she's playing with Mr. Diary. This is how they kind of introduce the diary concept, the audio logs. And there's a cute little scene where the kid is playing with Mr. Diary, and then she ends up stabbing Mr. Diary to death.
Let's see. Hello, Mr. Diary. Want to play? She mimicked his voice. Actually, I'm quite busy right now, Miss Eleanor. Maybe later. Well, all right, but do you mind if I take you apart while I wait? I promise I'll put you back together. Wait, you can't do that. No, wait, Eleanor. And to Sophia's surprise, Eleanor commenced stabbing at the tape recorder, breaking it apart with a screwdriver. Yeah, she's doing great.
Kid's doing great. It's doing great.
Surely Rapture is the place to raise your children.
Surely.
My God.
Oh boy, we're back with the trio, the trio of trouble here. That's what I'm going to call them: Tenenbaum, Fontaine, and Souchong.
Yes.
And they're talking plasmids.
They are. They're starting to inject this stuff into volunteer subjects here. And they start with electric plasmids, just as we do in the game. And so he has to be tranquilized because it's unlike anything anyone's ever experienced. The electricity shooting out of his hands. He's losing his mind. He's losing control, and they got to tranquilize him. And instead of going, holy fucking shit, we shouldn't give this to anybody, they start discussing its usage and the practical effects for it and how they're going to make it into a big business.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah. So while they're doing that, Fontaine I love this moment. It's kind of cartoonish where Fontaine wants to go into this back room, this specific room. It's kind of like, what y'all got hiding back there? Back where? Back there. Behind that door over there, see? And they start going, you don't maybe want to go back there. And he goes, well, I'm paying for all this shit. I want to see it. And he goes in, and you get basically a clip from Alien Resurrection where Sigourney Weaver is like half xenomorph and half human going, kill me. Like, it's pretty awful.
And Fontaine hates it.
Yeah.
He thinks it is the worst thing ever.
Very, what has science wrought?
And he's like, you got it under control. And Tenenbaum's like, yeah, we know what we're doing now. And he's like, great, kill that thing.
Kill this, please.
Burn it. Get rid of it. Nothing left.
Yeah, no one gets to know about this.
More controllable, easy to package, stuff that makes a man smarter, stronger, stuff that makes us money. You understand? Right. Money.
Yeah. And once again, we see the ding, 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 ding. Yeah. Just dollar bill signs.
He is really, he's really recovered from seeing, basically a man-made eldritch beast.
Right. Yeah. The cure for seeing an untenable horror before your very eyes is money. Money is the saltines and ginger ale of the soul. And it gets him through it.
Oh, God.
And that brings us to Lamb. We're back to Lamb. I'm starting to think that maybe this name is metaphorical, Kevin. What do you think?
I mean, yeah. If we're... You know what? It's like... when we're talking to Jam, and we're talking about those Christian songs, like in the and how and I just started thinking of Washed in the Blood of the Lamb. Every time I see her name, it's, you know, because Lamb has deep Christian.
Oh yeah,
and but not Christian now. But Christian, the communal Christian meanings and roots, where it's like it's a lot of we stuff and togetherness and stuff like that. So
small town community, Appalachian A-frame churches in the woods, kind of
coming together and get washed in the blood of the Lamb.
Exactly, going down to the river to pray, like that kind of shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It does have that old school vibe, and that's gonna play in.
Yeah. So Stanley Poole, it's the stories. This chapter's told from Stanley, or section is told from Stanley Poole's point of view. Stanley Poole's the reporter, if I recall correctly, right?
Yes, he's a reporter. He's there to cover. Well, I think he's there to
Lamb
cover.
Is giving a speech.
Yeah, she's there giving a speech to the working man.
Yeah, and it is very, very on the nose. Like, I'm surprised that she is still alive by the end of the speech.
I'm amazed that, like, at no point do we get 1950s style, laser sights between her eyes at any point. She goes left of Che Guevara on this one.
She's talking cooperation, which is a no-no down in Rapture.
Oh yeah.
She is deep into it. A house divided cannot stand.
Yep.
Competition is division, my friends, and a house divided cannot stand. Quoting Lincoln there, and and she has Poole notices that she is basically just as charismatic as Andrew Ryan.
Yeah, she's a great speaker.
A great speaker, dynamic speaker, just completely different, like opposite end of the political spectrum, but charismatic.
Yeah, and there's another person there who notices the exact same thing.
Fontaine,
and
like, money.
It's kind of hilarious because he loves her.
Yeah,
he thinks she's great, not for her message, but because he sees it as, he thinks she's a con artist like him.
Yeah,
and so it's
he
like
thinks this is another grifter.
Right. He's like, oh, game respects game. Like, that's really what we get here. And he says this Dr. Lamb was going to be too much competition, of course. In time, he'd have to see to it that Ryan got the info he needed to arrest her. Meantime, she was inspiring him along with the crowd, only not the same way. Basically, he keeps his eye on the prize. He's like, I got to take care of my shit and Ryan and everything like that first. But along the way, I'm going to have to, drop a few fleas in Ryan's ear about this woman.
Yeah.
Because she's awesome. And that means I got to get rid of her. It's another thing that just makes, I love Fontaine as a character so much.
Yeah.
He's such a scumbag.
He's
but
such
there's just
a massive pile of shit, but you can't help but kind of root for him a little
bit.
Like
it's like Ryan is. They kind of want the same thing, in a way, and we've discussed this before. But it's like Ryan isn't having fun with it. Ryan doesn't enjoy it. He's like he feels himself yoked to it.
He's all stress.
Right. He gets more and more paranoid, and Fontaine is just having more and more fun, and it's because Fontaine has no rules.
Right.
And
no rules, just right.
Exactly. And he sees Lamb as the oversized can of Foster's that just refreshes him in the moment, that he's eventually going to have to crumble up and throw into the recycling bin. But for now,
he's sipping that Foster's and he's having a good time.
Australian for capitalism.
Foster's. Australian for capitalism.
Aye. So
I don't know if we have any Aussie listeners yet.
I want Aussie listeners.
Oh wait, Cat. Well, we had Cat.
Well, we do have Cat. Yeah, Cat counts.
Cat counts.
That was pretty good, right? We honored your country in the
we honored your country and heritage. Foster's. That's your favorite beer, right?
Yeah, you
Australians
guys only drink that and eat bloomin' onions for breakfast.
Bloomin' onions and Foster's. That's
all.
That's the diet of champions.
That does sound good. But
it sounds good, but also like a huge mistake. Like I can see, I can foresee. I have the power of foreseeing into the future 30 minutes after that.
It's an important power.
It's an important power. 30 minutes beyond that, trouble.
Not so good.
Only darkness lies down that path.
Oh, just the darkness, the dark side, and the dark end of a toilet bowl.
And when I say darkness, I mean you're sitting in the toilet in the dark because you're so ashamed of what's coming out of your body.
Right.
You don't even have the lights on in the bathroom. You're just like, you just want to be in a void.
You don't want to see yourself. You don't want to see your own arms and legs because you're afraid of how much sweat is going to be on them.
Yeah. So Andrew Ryan, not afraid of pooping in the light though,
because he's a man's
man who poops who poops in the open.
Exactly. So he's hanging out with Bill. Some more come along Bill moments, and Sullivan is showing them. He's basically introducing them to the Plasmid ads. This is our first chance to see
the man
Ryan's
in Washington wants you to poop in the dark.
I want you to poop proudly where you stand.
Come
in
to
front
Rapture.
Of your friends and family.
At Rapture. I would like to poop in the light. No, says the man in Washington.
Is a man not entitled to the sweat off his own thighs after he's been pooping for 4.5 hours? My cat knows something's wrong. He's giving me a look. Oh, God.
So somebody brings that. Somebody brings Ryan the flyer about the plasmids.
That's right.
Because Fontaine is releasing a line of plasmids. The original line is hair grow, brain boost, sport boost, electrobolt, brute more muscle enhancer, and watch out for incinerate.
Yes. Yeah, lots of different usages for these. Everything from like turning on your gas heater without matches to just plain having a nice full head of hair, which was missing from the game, and I'm disappointed.
I'm disappointed that there wasn't a whole plot line related to hair grow, and that there wasn't some sort of like Sasquatch man who was addicted to hair grow.
Yeah, like after Stephen King found that meteor in the woods in Creepshow, and he starts getting covered in green fur, and he has to blow his own brains out.
Yeah,
that is what was missing from Bioshock.
That's what was missing from Bioshock.
Creepshow
was Creepshow, literally.
Yeah.
So and there's the Sullivan gives him the report that Poole had given him. That there's been Fontaine has made some breakthroughs and all that stuff.
And they're pretty sure that Fontaine's the one that is smuggling, but they don't have enough like actual evidence to follow it through.
Yeah. Ryan is not super concerned with this yet.
No, he's not concerned about the effects. He's not even really all that concerned about Fontaine.
Yeah.
He kind of does have a similar attitude toward Fontaine as Fontaine has for Lamb, but in kind of a more like LARPy, egomaniacal kind of way, where Fontaine's just having fun. I might have to mess with her. Ryan he's built up this legend of himself that he's drunk the Kool-Aid on so bad. I think he really does see himself as Sherlock and Fontaine as Moriarty.
Yeah, he's like a worthy rival, you know.
Right,
he can
which is kind of missing the point entirely.
He can kind of let him, he can kind of let Fontaine vibe and do his own thing for now. He's not super worried about it.
No.
I mean, Sullivan will figure it out eventually. He'll get the proof needed to book him for smuggling.
Right. And it's just kind of stupid. Like, even if you haven't played Bioshock or read this book or anything like that, I don't think it takes a genius to see that Ryan's an idiot. Ryan is stupid.
Ryan's a dum-dum.
Ryan's like going like, I'm just letting him out on the line a little longer. Just pull that bait a little longer, and when I'm ready, bam! I released the hounds? I don't know. I haven't planned anything. And by that time, Fontaine has left, and he's fucked her wife and emptied her bank.
Ryan slowly becoming Foghorn Leghorn. Right. Well, I say, that Fontaine fella, well, Fontaine has nothing against pooping out in public. God damn it.
It's objectivism, boy. Went right past you.
Objectivism's all about the pooping in the public.
It's all about pooping in public.
Well, I say that's that Miss Lamb, she wants us pooping in the dark.
Ladies and gentlemen, I argue that from here on out, if you meet an objectivist, and you just dismiss them, and it just infuriates them, and they'll probably say something like, you tell me, you don't even know what objectivism is. Tell me what objectivism is. You look them in the eye and you say, I get it. You guys want to poop out in public in the sun. I get it. Like, and just make like that's genuinely what you believe objectivism to be, and let us know how it goes.
Let us know how it goes. That you want pooping right there in the street pooping. Brought to you by Objectivism. It's just that's a t-shirt, and it's a toilet.
Yeah,
but the toilet has hands and it's doing finger guns.
And it's just disgusting. Train spotting toilet, just yeah.
It's that old tweet. Objectivists want one thing, and it's disgusting.
It's poop. Street pooping.
Bill McDonough visits some poor people.
Oh yeah. He ends up in the slum area of Rapture. I thought there weren't supposed to be slum areas.
I thought great men were just gonna kind of make things great.
That's how it's supposed to work.
That's how it's supposed to work. Guess it didn't happen.
Yeah, he's doing some charity work out there. There's one of the heat valves or something is broken. They can't figure out what the problem is, and no one can. They need help getting it figured out. He would never let Ryan know that he's doing all this because Ryan would flip his shit knowing that he was working for free. But there are people out in the area that are dying. They're freezing to death. They're dying from drinking bad hooch. It's a real mess out there, and Bill can't help but feel somewhat partially responsible.
So they're working on fixing a vent, and they find a dead body inside the vents. There is a 13-year-old child clogging up the vent, and that's why the fan was not working.
Yeah,
and that is terrible.
It's terrible, and Bill assumes that the kid. Was just the kids like to crawl in the passages, and all that shit. He was exploring, right? And that's what happened. And the electrician he's working with says, no, he doesn't have a home. He went in there to be safe.
Yeah.
To hide from anybody else. And the fan blades weren't on, and then suddenly they were, and they just about decapitated the kid.
Yep, and Bill is not in a good place from it.
No, and then he says there ought to be an orphanage, and the electrician chuckled grimly. Well, think Ryan can figure out how to run one for profit, and that is the problem with all this shit.
That is basically
in a nutshell.
The summation of it.
That's really it.
And then there's just a little reveal that that the plasmids have gotten some market saturation already. Yes. Because Bill's friend Roland Wallace uses the Electrobolt plasmid to power the fan back on. To basically
Bill's
jumpstart
never
it.
Seen that before.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's I thought that was a really nice touch, because it basically shows it basically in two different ways Bill is learning about how it actually works.
Yeah.
Out in the world. He sees a very absurd, over the top fantasy thing.
Sure.
But enough about objectivism. No, he sees this big absurd, like, I'm using my fucking electrical superhero powers to start a fan again. And then he just also sees the state of the place. These people
mess.
Who they can't work, they can't leave. No one's paying them anything, and so they just kind of gather together and die. So yeah, he gets a real eye
gather together to die.
To die. Yeah. Yeah. And that brings us to the end of chapter 10.
Yeah. So we're on chapter 11 with one of it's a well-written scene, but it's one of the worst scenes in the book.
It is horrifying, and you're absolutely right. It is also one of the most effective scenes in the entire book.
Basically, it is a domestic dispute between this poor married couple, Rupert and let's see, Rupert Mudge's wife. What was her name? Sally. Yeah, Sally Mudge. Rupert and Sally Mudge. So basically they're arguing because Rupert has spent the money that they needed on plasmids instead of spending it on things that they need. Yeah. Rupert has become addicted to plasmids. Like he's taken the hair grow to grow his hair back. He's looking good, feeling good, and she's been like, she's just mad at him, you know?
Oh, she's pissed.
She's pissed.
Yeah, he's spent, because she's not working. You know, he keeps talking about how he needs these plasmids to go in for a job the next day and everything like that. But it becomes clear he's just addicted to them.
He's just addicted to them.
A beautiful full head of hair. He's got new muscles and all that shit.
He's got new muscles, and basically he's starting to get the scarring on his face, the telltale splicer scarring from people who, like, it's like around the eyes, like this extra skin growth.
It sounds like meth. If you've ever seen meth addicts, sadly they're usually mugshots. Right. But their skin breaks open. They've got it's from burning and all that stuff. There are a lot of reasons, but it's this severe acne looking kind of thing, and that sounds like what they're describing here with him.
Yeah. And the fight basically the argument escalates to a point where Rupert is Sally tries to get away from her husband, and Rupert picks up a sofa, I believe.
The icebox.
The icebox, sorry.
Yeah, the fridge.
He picks up the fridge and he throws it at her, and it slams against the wall so hard that all that is left of her is just a bloody splotch on the wall.
He kills the fuck out of her.
He kills the fuck out of her. Yeah. And he basically is like, you know what? I'm going to go to Fontaine because Fontaine could use a guy like me.
Right. His first thoughts immediately are like, oh shit, she was the one doing all the work around here.
Yeah, because she was the one who had a job. He not.
He doesn't really grieve for his wife all that much.
Yeah.
And it's a great cut, by the way. It cuts to Bill and his wife Elaine having a beautiful romantic day out in the park.
Just a lovely day.
It's such a great cut. We go from these dark, horrifying slums where someone has literally been murdered, and now these happy, privileged people on you imagine it. It's probably not the case because they're underwater, but you imagine it's like just a beautiful, sunny spring day.
And I think there is sunlight in Arcadia.
Oh, yeah, they do imitate it, don't they?
They do.
The
it's like reflected with mirrors and something like that because of all the plants down in Arcadia.
Right. That's true. That's true.
And basically, Bill's wife, they're having this picnic basically, or they're just kind of hanging out. Sorry.
Yeah, like they've left the kid with a sitter. Essentially.
And they're talking about how there's bees around in Arcadia because of the you need bees.
Save the bees. Please save the bees, guys.
Please save the bees. Don't let the bees die. And basically, his wife kind of hints that he might be having an affair with this Julie Langford character, who is the woman who she was the one. In this universe, she helped create basically kind of like an Agent Orange during World War II to deforest Japanese islands for the Allies, and now she's doing the reverse. She's building forests underwater.
Yeah, there's this great. She seems to think that he's interested in her, and she asks him if he's got a minute, if he can talk to her. And so he tells his wife, back in a mo, love. Clearly she wasn't fine with him strolling off with Julie, but Elaine was a cheerful girl most of the time. It wouldn't do her any harm to feel a little jealousy now and then, keep her from taking him for granted.
Fucking Bill. Like,
Jesus Christ.
Come on, Bill.
I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're a man or a woman. If you think that way about your partner, go fuck yourself. That's pretty twisted shit.
So the problem is Julie is informing Bill that Ryan wants to turn the park, which is a public park, into a paid experience.
That's right.
Because public parks are communism.
Right. Why should there be? That's charity, and charity's evil, as we all know. And it gets to the point where he's going too far. He gets to the point where he has talked about charging a surcharge for oxygen.
An oxygen surcharge.
So,
which is basically a tax.
Yeah. Who would have thunk it?
Who'd have thunk it?
Paying for services. He's losing it. And Bill, once again, we have a moment with Bill. Bill's kind of interesting because just like Lamb a few chapters ago, where Lamb's kind of telling herself, I'm the only one who can stop this. I can make things better. As Bill starts to see how much further over the edge that Ryan is going, as that goes on, that's how he starts to see it. He still feels like he owes Ryan something, and so he thinks like, I gotta help him. I can change this. I can make things better. And he has put a few ideas into Ryan's head that have averted crises.
Right.
But that no good deed goes unpunished.
Right.
As we will see later on.
As we will see. Meanwhile. Oh yes, and it's by the way, the reactor has been sabotaged in Hephaestus. By the way,
we do get a wonderful little scene with Sander Cohen and a couple of his boy toys.
Yeah,
that show up, and they're horrified by the bees. They freak out.
Over the bees.
Freak out over the bees. Like
they may or may not be high. Nature. No, they are high. Yeah.
They are certainly high. Yeah.
They are certainly high, and they can't stand. They're freaking out over the bees.
Yeah, we get a little glimpse. It would be hilarious if it wasn't also kind of insulting.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's Sandra Cohen is our only real queer-coded named character in this book.
It is.
And he comes off as like Liberace with like a heroin addiction, which
it's not the best.
Liberace did have one.
I think he probably had some sort.
He had some kind.
There was something. He was doing a drug.
And that drug was dick.
I'm sure we.
One of the most addictive drugs known to man.
That's why it's an addictive. It's right in the word.
I did that to myself.
Sandra Cohen, he's the only queer coded character in the book, or the only one of the main primary or secondary characters that's queer coded. And his depiction, not the best for being the only queer coded character. The way he is depicted, and I don't blame John Shirley too much about it, because Sandra Cohen's being depicted the same way, was depicted that way in the game as one of the villains.
And you could also argue that with this kind of a world, this ultra conservative, ultra right wing kind of a world, that there's not a great chance that a guy like Ryan would want a lot of gay folks down there anyway. The only reason he has Sandra Cohen down there is he's kind of convinced he's a genius, that he just and really comes down to him liking his work. That's really all. So he puts up with it. And anyone again who's cracked open a history book can tell you that the queer folks who hang out with fascists don't always have a great time in the long run. So you can kind of argue that it makes some sense. It's just it does have, there are some problems there.
There are some problems with the way Sandra Cohen is portrayed, and so we'll move on. The Hephaestus has been sabotaged, according to Roland Wallace, and Bill and Roland run off to try to fix it. And then we get a smash cut over to Ryan, who is having dinner at the exact same time.
Yes, he's holding court with some of his top people there.
With his gal, Diane McClintock.
Yeah. And he's increasingly seeing these people around him who he's invited down. He's increasingly loathing them. Yeah. Like, he really sees them as a bunch of complaining ingrates.
They're just hangers-on that are just there, and he doesn't like them. He's talking shit about, like, oh, and this one made one too many visits to Dr. Steinman. He's just being a catty, a catty bastard with his...
He keeps hearing about how people are complaining about his world, so he's pissed off all the time, and he's projecting it onto the people around him. And also, who knows, maybe for the first time realizing that, the way he chooses his friends to come down there with him might have been a pretty, superficial method.
Yeah. And then he starts kind of like digging into... One of the guys that's there is a man named Garrus Fisher, who works at Fontaine, the Fontaine Futuristics. It's like, Garrus, what are you working on over there? And so Garrus is one of the scientists that's now working over there, and it's like, you got, Brute Moors is selling well. That's one that he worked on, but you can see Ryan's starting to like dig in just a tiny bit into this Plasmid business.
Oh yeah. He's furious that he doesn't have a piece of this.
Yeah, he is furious. And then, it basically continues. Diane wants some more drinks, and they want the dessert cart. And Ryan is thinking, maybe I'm just imagining all this discontent. But then he starts thinking about Pauper's Drop and all of the poors and the finding proof against Fontaine for communist organizing and all that stuff. And
he has this debate me, coward moment.
Yeah.
When he starts thinking of Lamb, where he says
debate me in public is his goal.
That's his plan. His whole plan with Lamb is that he's going to get her to debate him in public, and then all of her bullshit
facts,
will
not feelings.
Because,
he's going to facts, not feelings her.
I'm the best at this, obviously. And if it doesn't work out, then he'll simply make her disappear.
Yeah. And then suddenly, Karlowski shows up and was like, hey, stuff's going on down in Hephaestus.
Yeah.
And Ryan uses this.
Sabotage.
Ryan uses this to excuse himself from the dinner table where he wasn't having fun anyway.
Right. He's kind of, it's like there's a whole like part of town that is like under lockdown that's got serious issues, maybe a bombing or something like that. And basically his reaction is, oh, thank God, I was so bored.
I hate these people. I mean, excuse me, I have to go.
Excuse me. Oh, terribly sorry. What a shame. So we end up in Hephaestus. Bill and they basically, this is before Ryan showed up, but they escape a bomb that's set there. It ends up being a minor bomb that basically just sends out a bunch of ticker tape with warnings.
It's basically like a glitter bomb.
Right. And it says things warning against Rapture oppressors.
Rapture oppressors, be warned.
Yes.
It's like there's not much to it.
Yeah, it's kind of a sad, empty gesture.
Yeah,
that you get from people who are just being beat down. You know, it's there's not much to it, and it doesn't do much. But it's essentially these poor people just trying to get some of their anger out.
Yeah.
But of course, Ryan's pissed.
He is pissed.
Yeah.
And the chapter ends with Bill finally making the realization that he has been building to for pages now.
Yeah.
He can no longer ignore the stunningly obvious. I like the fact that stunningly was slipped in there.
It's nice. It is nice.
Rapture was cracking at the seams.
Yeah.
And I think that's where we'll leave it for tonight. Because, as we said...
What a good place to leave it.
Yeah. Oh, boy. So, what are you thinking? What are you feeling?
This has been... this part, obviously it's the meatiest part of the book for a reason. But, man, just the little slice of life moments are so well written.
Yeah.
We get these little glimpses into, and we're gonna get a few more in the next part.
Sure.
And these little glimpses into these people's lives, people will never see again.
Sure.
That just really drive home the horror of this place in a way that the game couldn't.
Right.
Because in the game you get the aftermath.
Yeah.
And that's horrifying. Don't get me
wrong. The aftermath
is
terrifying, but
it's scary. But watching it happen, all of that stuff, all of these moments, the argument between the husband and wife, where he literally smashes her to a smear, with an ice box, like, yeah, that's insanity. And we're gonna get more of those moments where we are getting a real lower class, upper class, haves, have nots kind of thing, where you're seeing the consequences of what they're building, and on both sides. So I really dig it. This is solid writing. I've said it before, but this is just solid
really good.
Writing,
and it's the kind of thing that I would have loved to have seen more of from Dead Space Martyr. Or
yes.
Because and that's the thing, is Dead Space Martyr has scenes like this where the decay is setting in. Yeah. But it is a lot of telling and not showing.
That's exactly.
It's like, oh, did you hear so-and-so killed themselves? Blah, blah, blah.
Right.
That was the problem with Dead Space Martyr. It was just like, you're just getting a recap. Recaps upon recaps.
All you needed was a page-long scene of some guy that you haven't seen yet and you'll never see again, as an example of how bad things are getting.
Sure.
And a lot of it also, it was all in service to the main plot.
Yeah.
Whereas with this, a lot of it, sometimes it happens that one of the main characters mentions one of the crazy things that happens in one of these little bitty scenes, but mostly they're just things that build the atmosphere.
It's in service. The world. Yeah, it's in service to world building and the setting.
Yeah.
And that is the beauty of novels, is that not
you
every
you
have the time. Not every page has to be dedicated to the plot. You can have just some character building moments. You can have some, then eventually they'll all weave together and form the plot. But that's what you can't get away with that necessarily in a movie, right? You don't have the time in a movie. Everything is character and plot have to be lockstep forward together. Here we go. In most movie writing, don't come at me with the anti-plot and non-plot and the I'm looking at you, Rob McKee.
Right.
Is he still alive?
No.
Is he still alive?
The
guy who wrote the story, Robert McKee.
Yeah, no. Hold on, McKee. That's Robert McKee.
He's still alive.
He's alive.
Yeah.
He's 80 years old.
80 years old.
Around. Look at those eyebrows, man! I hope to have eyebrows as impressive as that one day.
Those are a pair of caterpillars about to do a mating dance.
Oh, wonderful job, Mr. McKee.
Wonderful. I applaud your eyebrows.
I love it.
So that'll do it for today's episode.
Hell yeah.
Before we go, we wanted to tell you about something special that we have cooking up, and that's a little partnership with Audible.
Indeed. We recently gained a sponsorship with Audible.com. For those of you who don't know, Audible.com is one of the best places on the internet to get audiobooks, audio dramas, lecture series, all kinds of amazing stuff. And if you go to audibletrial.com/pixellit, all lowercase, you will find us there, and you can sign up for a 30-day trial completely free, including one free audiobook and access to countless free radio dramas, radio plays, other audiobooks, lecture series, all kinds of stuff, all for free. You get it for 30 days, and after that it is $14.95 a month. But if you don't like it, cancel it. See if we care. I understand.
Yeah.
And actually, I don't. I've been with Audible for like a decade.
Yeah, I don't remember when I signed up.
It has been a long time. I have had my Audible account maybe longer than I've known you.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
It's been a long time.
Yeah.
And I get the great courses on there. I like reading. I tend to read the books that we read, but I love getting the Audible audiobook versions of them when they're available, because it's just nice to listen to them while you're doing work. It helps put some perspective on it. You guys have heard us referencing the audiobooks before. And you can get Bioshock Rapture. You can get Halo Fall of Reach. You can get Far Cry Absolution. Highly recommend that one. I remember us talking about that.
The guy who reads Far Cry Absolution, great voice.
Oh, it's exactly the atmosphere you want for something like that. So check it out. Check out audibletrial.com/pixellit and tell us what you got. Tell us what you're listening to.
Let us know.
That would be fun. We'd love to see what you're listening to.
And in the meantime, follow us on Twitter at PixelLitPod and rate us 5 stars on Apple, please. If you can, please. If you're listening to us on Apple, I know about 20% of you are. If you haven't already, scroll down to the bottom of the app, hit that 5-star, and it would be greatly appreciated. Share us with your friends, share us with your family, share us with your dogs, your cats, your hamsters. I hear that we are very popular among gerbils. So big time in the gerbil community.
They love our stature. They find us to be very handsome and tall.
Yes. Yeah,
which is true.
It's true. Compared to them.
We are handsome and tall. Compared to them.
Yeah. So anyway, that'll do it for tonight's episode. Thanks everyone, and have a good night.
Good night.